welcome to Raising Vibrations with myself, Simon. Today we're going to be going through Pluto in the third house, and what I'm going to be doing is just sharing with you my personal perspective and way that I've seen these archetypes manifest in our reality and what the soul is actually doing as it manifests this Pluto placement. Before I go ahead and actually share with you my perspective and understandings regarding this placement, I highly recommend that you watch the introduction video. Why that's the case is because to understand completely what Pluto is doing in your birth chart, you need to be able to have a very firm grasp on what actually Pluto represents, okay, from the point of VA and from the point of the soul itself, because this is soul evolution, astrology that we're dealing with here, okay? So I highly recommend watching that first so that you can get a really, really deep understanding of this placement, okay? Right, and the second thing is that with Pluto being in the third house, this also means if Pluto is transiting your third house as well, so if it's moving into your third house, and if Pluto is in Gemini, which many souls don't actually have that at this point in time, okay? If Pluto is making a contact to Mercury in your astrology charts, I highly recommend also paying attention to this video because of that case, because it will be affecting that. All right. So the first thing that we have to understand about Pluto moving through or in the placement of the third house is that your soul's desires and unconscious emotional attachments are trying to understand the nature of reality and the nature of life through this phenomena of words and language, through communication. And so everything that you naturally try to understand about life will be filtered through what are definitions, what are life, or what is life, or what is the creation of things through that mental capacity. So this is one where there is this highly sensitive soul relative to information, relative to the value and security attached with information. And how does that information allow me to navigate my way through life? And so because Pluto itself is naturally attaching you and making you feel secure relative to information and facts and opinions and data, etc., you're definitely one person that really enjoys communicating and really enjoys expressing yourself and really enjoys being part of the diversity of life in a way that really makes you feel connected and communicating and writing and expressing. Now, a polarity point could actually occur over here as well, where it's the complete opposite. The only reason why that would be the case is if there are, of course, aspects being made to Pluto, for instance, if you have Neptune and such. So they both are operating, but there is a high likelihood that Pluto in the third house is operating through this very need to communicate. Now, writing and reading is a big part of this process for you. However, I suspect that there's also a challenge of completing things as well, because there's this overall excitement of Pluto operating in this way where you're naturally drawn towards the literature, naturally drawn towards the communication side of it and the reading side of it and gathering information side of it. But then after a certain point, it becomes boring because you've kind of assimilated everything at such a fast pace. So this is what you're doing. You're trying to understand life through that context. A word, for instance, describes something, and that description gives you this ability and security to feel like you know what you're doing. Now, with Pluto's transit and evolutionary archetype through this journey, what you will be naturally attaching yourself to is a lot of very intellectual, academic, left brain orientated situations. And what can be the challenge with Pluto in the third house is that you will naturally attract people into your life that could be more opinionated and stronger willed in terms of their intellectual capacity than yourself, which creates this natural evolutionary cycle of there is more information that I don't know that I need to go and find out. And so it creates this archetype of concentric circles moving around like this, that everything at some point becomes relative. And a big part of Pluto through the third house and its trine to Libra is everything is relative, everything is connected, and everything in a sense is a perspective that you are assimilating through. And once you come to that realization, you start to recognize that the center of your consciousness over previous lifetimes, because of the need to want to understand life through this lens, becomes just like not distorted, but it gets lost. It moves based on where it is that the current facts of information that you have. And your evolutionary need in this lifetime is to kind of polarize that, where you're needing to spend a lot more time trying to move into the space of what is intuitively right for me versus what is just general information. And it is this way of discerning what information is available to me that is specific to me that I need to know versus just collecting random amounts of information and just going with the ebb and flow of everything and not really being able to connect to what is your own personal opinion and your personal authentic truth and your personal sense of identity. So a part of this archetype is really needing you to spend a lot of time deeply reflecting on your life of how can I make things specific to my personal journey? And you start that by asking questions. Is this relevant? Does this facilitate my journey? Does this aid me in some way, shape, or form? And if it does, then of course that's where you start to expand your sense of knowledge. But if you're just going to expand it on everywhere, your center of gravity will consistently move and you'll be challenged with security issues or within yourself, because at some point you'll recognize there's more to the story than what I knew. And so therefore I need to go learn more. I need to assimilate more. I need to go get more. Okay? So it's about asking questions specific to your personal journey and allowing yourself to understand yourself in a more deeper way, personal to you. And that's a really important aspect to really understand about this archetype in that sense. Okay? Fantastic. Well, I really hope that you enjoyed this. If you are interested in learning more about the comic stories associated with this placement, please come over to my website. The information is in the description below. And you can book a reading with myself and we can discuss all the types of natural ways that this archetype is manifested for you. And it'll be interesting to chat to you about how you feel about this placement. And the last thing that I wanted to say just before I actually end this off is, and this was something that was really interesting and I wanted to say, was that one of the things with Pluto, and this is a typical third house thing, just more information, is that Pluto in the third house is naturally a soul that has karmic attachments where you've really had something terrible said to you prior to this incarnation, even if it's just as you were about to die, etc., which brings this feeling of like self-criticism or a sense of lack or a sense of judgment that could be integrated into your own existence. And it almost creates this thing where you want to say something sometimes, and this empowering process of people being stronger than what you know being always present in your life and always pushing you to not speak. So it'll be interesting to hear if that's actually something that you've experienced as well. Yeah. Okay. Fantastic, guys. Please hit the like and subscribe button. Share this video as much as possible. And don't forget to have a fantastic day. Take care. Bye-bye.